Hi, my name's Tony Kovatch, and I'm the artist in residence here at Liberty Bellows in Philadelphia. I want to welcome you back to our series of instructional videos for the piano accordion. In today's lesson, we are going to explore a brand new key, G major. So what is a key exactly? There are two main characteristics of a key. The first one is the collection of notes that you use in that key. So we learned in our last few lessons that the notes that make up the C major scale, those are the main notes in the key of C. The other is that the chord progressions of songs in a certain key tend to begin and end on the tonic chord. The tonic chord is a fancy musical term that means the chord that has the same name as the key. So in the key of C major is our tonic chord. In fact, if you go back to all of the songs that we've learned so far in the key of C, you will notice that they all begin and end on the C chord. So in order to play in G major, all we really need to know is the key's collection of notes, or its scale, and how to play a G major chord. First, let's review all of those things in C major. Our C major scale looks like this. Basically, we're playing from C to C and back down, playing all of the white keys. Our C major chord is simply comprised of the first, third, and fifth scale degrees. Let's see if the same is true in G major. First, let's find our G. In order to find a G, look for the group of three black keys. It's going to be the white key in between the first two. So here's our G. And we have another G up here. Let's find our three black keys. And again, it's the white key in between the first two black keys. Let's try playing that octave. Now let's see what happens if we play every white key in between the two Gs. So you may have noticed that that sounded a little bit strange. It didn't sound quite like a major scale. That's because in G, we need to use an accidental. If you use only white keys, it's not going to sound like a major scale. In order to fix this problem, we're going to add one black key to the scale. It's going to be the second to last note. So that means that G has one sharp. That sharp is called F sharp. The fingering for the G major scale is the same as the C major scale. You're going to play the first three notes with your thumb, second finger, and third finger, and then you're going to shift and play the rest of the scale all the way up to your pinky, just like this. The F sharp will be played with your ring finger. In order to figure out our G chord, let's talk about the C chord. The C chord was simply the first, third, and fifth scale degree. Let's apply the same logic to our G major scale. So the first scale degree is G, the third is B, and the fifth is D. That's our G major chord, G, B, and D. I also want to point out that the D below the G down here, that's part of a G chord inversion, and I point that out because today our song is going to use that low D. Before we move on to our song of the day, however, I want to give you a special challenge. Put your hand in a 5-finger pattern starting on G, and see if you can figure out how to play Ode to Joy. If you use the exact same fingerings that we did in C major, it should work in G major. Remember that you start on your third finger. Compare that to the sound of Ode to Joy in C major. So you probably noticed that changing the key changes how high or low a song sounds, and it also changes the character of the song. All of this will really come in handy when we play our song of the day, My Darling Clementine. The song is split into two distinct phrases. The first phrase highlights the G chord. In fact, it's basically an arpeggio. In order to reach the lower notes of the song, we're going to want to start with our second finger or index finger on G. And then our thumb is going to reach all the way down to the D. Remember, D is part of the G chord. So during this first section, we're really just playing a G arpeggio. So try this. Put your first finger on G and thumb on D. And then you're going to put your middle finger on B and your pinky on D. This is a G chord with a D in the bass. Basically an inverted G chord. Watch, if I keep my hand in this shape, I can play the first part of the first chord. At this point, in order to play the second phrase, I want to shift my hand down a little bit so that my middle finger is starting on A. So both phrases look like this. First, we're going to highlight the G chord. And then shift down. In C major, the tonic chord was C, and the most common other chords to use were G and F, which were neighboring rows. The same is going to be true in G. G major is going to be our tonic, and the two neighboring chords are going to be D and C. Notice we just threw a new chord into the mix, and that's D. If you want to find D, find your indent, and you're going to go up 2 rows. It's right above G, just like all of our other rows so far. The button closest to the bellows is our D bass button, and right behind it is our D major chord. Clementine happens to be a 2-chord song, and we're only going to use G and D. The progression goes like this. You're going to start by playing G for several measures before switching to D. Switch to D. Switch to G. D. G. Here's what it sounds like with the melody. Stay tuned for tomorrow's lesson, where we continue to explore G major and talk about how to play harmonies in the right hand.